A white man was literally humbled, not only humbled in real life, but on live TV. Like, this is actually a public disgrace as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, I love it. When I saw this clip, I want you guys to literally watch this clip because it is only someone that I'm going to say some knots in his head has literally loosed that we open his mouth, have the guts, have the audacity on national TV to tell black people, black Americans to be specific, to move to another country on live TV. You see why I say some of these people don't think before they say something that they want to say. But anyways, I want you guys to see all of the fafu and the camera that it came with. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Sonia. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. Credits belong to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in today's episode. I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you. Liking, commenting, sharing, dropping super thanks, and also joining my membership. I do not take you guys for granted. You guys are absolutely the best. With that being said, let's dive right into this video. I'll be back with commentaries. Let's go watch, guys.
Why don't you move to a different country? Why are you staying here? Young 10-year-old, very intelligent looking young lady, a black young lady who will not stand for the Pledge of Allegiance in her classroom. She doesn't want to stand up because apparently she believes that black Americans need a lot more to be done in this country. You know what I believe, Cornell? And I know you supported her publicly. I think at 10 years old, she has no real understanding of what America is. So I wonder if her parents have sat her down and explained what Americans have given their lives. White, black, red, it doesn't make any difference. They stood and they fought and they died for this country, and she doesn't want to do anything to honor them?
Matt, she comes from a family of military service members. Her father's is a retired military service member also, who served this nation well with great dignity.
Good.
Her mother's a very intelligent woman. What white people need to understand is
Just
that,
white people?
Yes, please, let me explain. That national anthem was written by Francis Scott Key, a slave owner.
Oh, here we go.
Who demonized and hated black slaves and black people. Go research the third verse where he says, "There's no refuge in this country for the hireling or the slave. Both should be turmoil to the grave."
How's her parents do it?
This is a man
Are they successful?
that promised turmoil for black people to the
So
grave.
her-
Would you ask
her
Jewish children
parents
to say
are
a
successful.
pledge to a German
Of
anthem that disrespects Jewish people?
they're
No, you
living
would
in
not.
Germany,
No,
sure.
you would not.
Well, sure.
That disrespects Jewish people?
Then
No,
why
you would not.
you certainly can kneel down. In America, you have the right to do that.
America looked at the same way at Rosa Parks when she refused to get up and give up her seat to a white man on the bus. But history vindicated her.
things.
History vindicated
Two
her.
different
America
things.
demonized Harriet Tubman for freeing slaves from slavery, but history vindicated her. So I say to that young girl, you stand strong, stand up, and stand for what you believe in. And to all of those who are too coward to do it, don't get in that young girl's way. Others
What
like
would
her,
you like her-
support that young
What
girl.
would you like her to say to the men and women who have fought for this country like I ran into over the weekend? The black men and women who fought for this country and some who gave their
And
lives.
ask the black men and women who served America in its military, like in the Independence War. We helped America get it, and we were still slaves afterwards. Ask those in Vietnam who gave their war
Why
on
didn't you stay
Vietnam
in
battlefields,
2016?
but then came back and was
Why
called
didn't you stay in
niggers
2016?
in their own country. We have fought in America's war, and we've never been given the justice and the due process of everybody else in this nation.
Then
So
why don't you
something is
move
right.
to a different country? Why are you staying here if you don't
Man,
like it?
let me tell you why. Because
Why?
the country belongs to Indians. You white folks stole it from them, raped and robbed their people. This not your country. You all came over here and stole it and beat the hell out of them.
I was
So this
born.
not your country.
It was my country.
You all need to go home.
If you're
you
not
all need to go back where you
interested-
came
if
from.
you don't like it, why don't you
Excuse
pack
me?
up and go?
Let the Indians decide who should pack up and go, and I guarantee you black folks will stay, and you all will be on the first damn boat leaving here. So don't try that, brother. You all didn't make America. This is not your country.
What you should do is sit down with someone who has fought for this country, Cornell. Get their opinion too.
Tons of black people have, and what have we gotten from it?
Donald Trump's not the problem. MAGA's not the problem. ICE isn't even the problem. They're all symptoms. I mean, ICE is a imminent problem. They're an invading force in multiple cities and states, and they are literally a weaponized version of the Klan that is state-sponsored and has endless amount of money for some reason. But even if all three of those went away today, we would still have the problem. And the problem is this. White people, people who look like you and me, we've allowed white supremacy to flourish in this country for generations and generations and generations, so long that people don't even recognize it, myself included sometimes, right? I had a moment just last weekend or just earlier this week in New Orleans where I was speaking with a guy on a trolley who grew up there. And he's like, well, you're from the South, right? I grew up in North Carolina. That is the South. You might want to fight me on that. It's not the deep South. He said, you know why everyone's so polite here? And I was like, I don't. And he was like, well, we had to be. He was like, everyone had to be polite to each other, especially black people to white people, because if we didn't address them properly, we would get killed. I make U.S. history content. And I didn't even think about that. I grew up in the South and I didn't even think about that. That's how normalized every day white supremacy is in our country. And if the white people in this country don't decide that they're going to extricate the cancer that is white supremacy from themselves, from their homes, from their communities, from everything that they are surrounded with, we will be right back in this position 5 years from now, 10 years from now, however long it takes for the cycle to regenerate, because it will happen. Trump's not the problem. MAGA's not the problem. ICE isn't the problem. It's white supremacy. It's been white supremacy. It will be white supremacy. It's always been that. And if we don't work towards it to fix it now, then when? Oh, and by the way, if you're a white person watching this, guarantee you, when we get rid of white supremacy and the systemic white supremacy that kills people every day, every single one of us will be healthier. We'll all be wealthier. We'll have better access to food. We could even have walkable cities. We could have walkable cities, but that's white supremacy. In action, right? The way we've designed our cities is white supremacy in action. So just think about where you want this country to be in 5 or 10 years. Think about how loud you want to be. You will lose people. That's okay. We'll have each other. Let's go for it.
It's so weird watching black people get mad at white people for starting functioning white communities. It's like, you know how happy we'd be to see black people start a functioning black community? Like we would
burn it down, right? Was that what you was about to say? Because that is the only thing that has ever happened in American history. Sir, you don't understand. You're helping all Americans by taking all the racist people and moving them into one area. I may help you pack your bags and rent a moving truck for you. I may donate to your cause so we can get this thing rolling. We need y'all all to be in the same area so we know who exactly you people are. I challenge any European American to name me one, just one, in 300 years, name me one time black people have built an all-black everything, right? A thriving community, a thriving functioning system, right? And white people have not destroyed it. Any group, any community, any town has been destroyed, burned down to the ground by European Americans. What's extremely disheartening from European Americans is in the year of 2025, they then say, oh, why aren't black people building functioning towns? You blew them all up. You think if you keep blowing up, bombing, and burning down every town that black people built, that we're just going to keep building more and more and more? You force black people to assimilate into American culture, then point the finger and say, why aren't you doing this? Your analogy is the same as burning down somebody's house, coming back the next day and say, hey, you know you're homeless, right?
Blacks and you have niggers.
What's the difference between a black person and a nigger to you?
I've talked to black people. Black people, they don't want to come up here. They don't want to cause any trouble. That's a black person. A nigger wants to come up here and cause trouble all the time. That's the difference.
Of black people, what is it you are afraid black people are going to do? I mean, that's what I'd like to know.
I'm afraid of them coming to Forsyth County. I lived in Atlanta. I was born in Atlanta. And in 1963, the first blacks were bused to West Fulton High School. And I go down there now and I see my neighborhood and my community, which was a nice community, a nice neighborhood, and now it's nothing but a rat-infested slum area because they don't care. They don't care. Thank you.
No, stand up, You know. Do you mean they, us, the entire black race? The entire black race?
Blacks and you have niggers.
What's the difference between a black person and a nigger to you?
I've talked to black people. Black people, they don't want to come up here. They don't want to cause any trouble. That's a black person. A nigger wants to come up here and cause trouble all the time. That's the difference.
So it's clear that we are watching the fall of the American empire in real time. And there is a stark difference in the way that the white community is responding and how the black community is responding. The black community en masse has completely withdrawn. They fought, they campaigned, they warned us, and we chose the orange man anyway, and they're out. The white community, on the other hand, is fighting, those of us who aren't under Trump's spell. And there is this real sentiment that if we can just get Trump out of the way, then we can all get back to normal. But the thing is, that's not what God is doing. And I'm not a nihilist, but we're missing the point. The point is this white supremacist system has wreaked enough havoc, enough, and God is judging it. And the fact that we are clinging so hard to it makes me wonder, what does the black community see that we don't, that's allowing them to totally let go right now?
The reason why we will never get over racism in this country is because people defend it to the absolute fullest, y'all. Look at this. I posted this video on YouTube, y'all. It's the fact that people are saying, hey, it's crazy that you made this up. Hold on. Y'all to sit down and read this paragraph. Please pause this for a second. It's the fact inside that comment that person said, perhaps the person they were talking to wasn't even black. They could have been white. I quote and repeat, on that phone call, my boy straight up said, F you effing N-I-double-G-E-R. I don't know about y'all. I'm pretty sure we all took the same English class in school, no matter what generation you in to learn English. That mug was talking to a person who looked like me, bro. And it's not funny, but bro, you have to laugh because it's so common amongst people to be so racist towards people that look like me when we're just existing just like the next person. So before you get underneath my comments being like, oh, you just made up this story for this, this, and this, I really want you to go and ask your nearest black person how much racism they experience throughout their daily life as a black person. You will be shocked of how many of us get secondhand racism and it's not even directed towards us, or when it is directed towards us, still get swept underneath the rug. We got to do better as people, y'all. We live on the same planet. It shouldn't matter the skin, the color of your skin, the way you walk, the way you talk. We are on this planet to all thrive together. But somehow, a certain demographic of people think that they are above the rest. Y'all need to fix that.
I can understand if you still think America is racist, at least in some systemic ways. I'm not here to debate you on that. But you said that the country didn't get less racist. So you're telling me that America in 2026 is just as racist as America was in 1965? That's what you're telling me? Like, at some point, like, we just gotta be honest, y'all. I'm not here to try to sway you to not believe that racism is still alive and well today. That's not my argument. But we gotta be realistic. Generation after generation, America has gotten less racist. Like, we have to acknowledge that. There's nothing wrong with saying that, guys. If anything, that's an ode to the progress the country has made. That's an ode to Black Americans and the work we've done to submit ourselves in the fabric of this country. But to say we're still racist today, as we were 60 years ago, is honestly a discredit to all the people who put in work to make sure this country isn't as racist today as it was in 1965. Oh my Lord.
I want you to listen to what I'm about to say, think about it, and then reply. White America and everyone who aspires to join it has put us wildly close to potentially destroying 3 billion plus years of evolution in like an hour. And it's largely because of their anti-blackness, white Americans specifically. It's insane that we're not holding their feet to the fire enough. We are still babying this population in a way that is absolutely ridiculous. There's a non-zero chance. In fact, it's scary how far from zero the chance is that Trump presses a button and drops a nuclear warhead on a foreign country. And this is not a first-time occurrence because if you recall, during his first presidency, there was concern amongst high-ranking military folks that Trump would press the button. Like, really think about that. Within an hour of a genocidal decision like that, life as we know it on planet Earth could just cease. The stress and anxiety that people are feeling all over the world, the increase in prices that people are feeling in regions like Southeast Asia specifically right now, it's all a direct result of the racism of white Americans, and specifically their anti-blackness. And I guarantee you, every time I say anti-blackness in this video, the views are dropping directly after, because across cultures, non-black cultures within the context of the US, there's an express fatigue with hearing about anti-blackness. And the fact that people always want to stop at that juncture in the chain is why nothing ever gets fixed, because people, oh my God. When you strip away all the bullshit, Trump ran on racism and sexism, period. On the racism front, his go-to shtick was anti-immigrant, specifically anti-Latino sentiments, right? This is a chart displaying increases and decreases in immigration to the US over the last 200 years or so. Do you see this huge spike? Do you see this huge spike? Take a second to look at what they correspond to. Okay, good. It's from this point onward that we see anti-immigrant sentiments become a staple of American culture. Look at where this spike began. This spike begins where the Civil War ends, where our ancestors were freed. No more free battery pack to power this entire economy, north and south. So without delay, the doors are open to generate more expensive labor for capital holders. Moreover, the psychological wage that comes with whiteness and aspiring to whiteness is slightly diluted at this point, because despite the fact that blackness is still subcasted, black people are no longer inherently enslaved or enslavable, legally speaking at least. Many of those European immigrants who came into the country right after the Civil War weren't even considered white, but it's over the course of the next century and through a process of indoctrination, including adopting anti-blackness, that some of them become white. That becomes the template for the American dream. It's half-baked, right? They're selling it as they're baking it, but that's the template. Move here, drop your culture, move to the suburbs, adopt consumerism, become anti-black. These are staples. These are requirements in the rubric to become white. That's the glue holding it together as new layers are being added to this racial hierarchy cake that is America. Speaking in general terms, the white people in this country are the most ignorant of the socio-political reality of this country, and they're anti-immigrant and they're anti-black. And the immigrant population, speaking in general terms, is anti-black, right? It's layers of awareness and it's also layers of subjugation in terms of social status. I'm not talking about material, although it's often reflected in the material too. My point being, Trump runs on anti-immigrant sentiments and wins handedly with white Americans, and also sees a disturbing amount of success with Latino Americans. Understand that that ideological framework and all the mechanisms within it only are there because America was trying to answer the question, what are we going to do without slavery? What are we going to do if we have to stop treating, legally speaking, black people like animals? That's the basis. And now we are on the precipice of destroying the entire planet. And at 1,000,001 junctures, during the Reconstruction period, during the Civil Rights period, shit, during the Obama years, if you want to throw that in there, white people have had the opportunity to stop being so fucking ignorant. And they have chosen not to. And now we are on the precipice of the entire planet potentially being destroyed for a myriad of reasons, but the most pressing being nuclear warfare. And so for me, on a personal level, I no longer have the capacity for the fragility of white ignorance. Final point being, now that it's been made the entire planet's problem, the entire planet needs to understand this. The entire planet needs to shame white America into being better. Period. You're fucking up the species. That's without even touching the religious component of all of this.
I saw this comment that said, I'd rather be poor in an all-white country than rich in a multicultural one. As a black person, insane to me that in this country you can have a 400 or 500 year head start and still be poor, whereas very small percentages of black and brown people are successful. And it got me thinking of the very ethos of what Trump is running on and what MAGA feel.
You know, what nobody wants to talk about is you lose the racial demographics in your country. Is it wrong for a person in our country to want a country that's majority white? Is that a wrong thing? And if you replace the native populace with people from other countries, that is going to change that culture. So it's...
America is a country that was founded by migrants.
Was it though? I mean, who are the founders? They were white Americans that came over here and then...
I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon.
He's running on the misalignment of what it means to be white in America and the fact that they never were able to attain wealth in what is considered their country, and pinning minority presence and success against poor white people. And it's sad because if I was poor and white, I wouldn't blame other people for my predicament being in a country that was made for us. But it seems to be working. And that's why we have a rise in white nationalism, because for too long now, these people feel as if they've been pushed to the side, irrespective if it's other white rich people pushing them aside and making their conditions their conditions. It's easier to blame us because we're closer in proximity. It's also, as a black person, insane to me that in this country you can have a 400 or 500 year head start and still be poor, whereas very small percentages of black and brown people are successful. There are more educated black people than there've ever been. Black women are holding higher secondary degrees than anyone else. Asian Americans are some of the most educated people in the world, and the list goes on. But for you to be centuries old poor in a country that you were told was for white people, and to have minorities be the ones that you see on TV or you see in movies or you see driving cars or they're athletes, and it really makes your blood boil that you are not able to attain these things. So this is the premise that you run on, and to maintain that premise, you lock up migrants, you do a campaign against immigrants, you call them rapists, you call them evil, you call them dirty, you round them up, and in those actions you make us poor white people feel vindicated. Yes, we're getting these people out of our country, because that's the only semblance of power they have, right? Is racism. It's not actual wealth, it's not actual jobs, it's not the power to control anything, because we live in an autocratic society in which oligarchs run all of those things, so they're not a part of that, but they can be a part of racism. And that is the history of America and how it has always been, and how they've always been able to keep a small minority of white people in power and empowering the bulk of the poor majority white into thinking that this is a linear access to power and it's all due to whiteness. America.
The last time we saw white people in the streets with the same level of hate and rage that we think we should be seeing now is when they were fighting segregation. Somebody had to say it. Argue with your mama. So, do y'all remember how Black Lives Matter protests were being talked about? Not discussed, but talked about. Riots, chaos, violence, animals. They were calling us animals. Every news segment looked like the apocalypse. One trash can on fire and suddenly the whole movement was criminal. It didn't matter that millions of people were marching peacefully. It didn't matter that we were begging for accountability. We were begging these people for accountability. All that mattered was how fast can we shut this shit down. Now, look at how they're covering these No Kings protests and the ICE protests. And be serious for a second, because they out here throwing snowballs. Snowballs. They're laughing, they're bundled up, cosplaying rebellion. Meanwhile, in the same cities, their neighbors are getting slammed into walls, grabbed in front of their kids, kidnapped off the streets. And the coverage? What's that looking like? Emotions are running high, right? The people feel unheard. Concerns about government overreach. Concerns. And that's when it clicks. Black people protest, and the question is, how do we control them? When white people protest, the question is, how do we listen to them? Same streets, same disruption, wildly different tone. Now, back to when we saw white Americans as angry as they should be now. That was rage. That was mobs that we saw. That was screaming at kids walking into schools. That was violence wrapped in concern. And even then, it wasn't framed as extremism. It was framed as fear, as loss, as people struggling with change. Sound familiar? So when I see snowballs getting thrown while families are getting ripped apart, while they're attacking a car with kids inside, a black family's car with a baby inside, I don't think the media suddenly learned nuance. I think the empathy shows up when the protest looks like you. When the anger feels familiar. When the faces feel safe. When the rage doesn't threaten the hierarchy. It just asks for a better seat in it. BLM was treated like a threat to the country. These protests get treated like a disagreement with management. One gets militarized, the other gets moderated. So no, this isn't about peaceful versus violent. This is about permission. Who's allowed to be angry without being criminalized? Who gets grace while others get cuffs? Who can throw snowballs while somebody else gets body slammed into a wall just for existing? And that, white America, that is why people are mad. Not because we don't understand what's happening, but because we understand it perfectly. Stop asking us what to do. Channel your ancestors.
I said, name 5 white people in American history who fought against racism and slavery. And I want y'all to think about that, because have there been 5 people? Yes. Way more than 5. Thousands. And I would ask you as a follow-up question, why can't you name them then? Because if we are to live in a society that is supposed to be anti-racist, meaning something that we create that benefits all people, not someone more than others, then we should know about people who've been fighting for years and years and years. We should know about Reverend Bruce Clunder, who was a white guy who was protesting school segregation in Ohio, and Ohio is considered the North. He laid his body down in front of a bulldozer in the 1960s to protest school segregation and died. We should probably know about Anne McCarty Braden, who organized with Rosa Parks, and she helped organize white Southerners to join the civil rights movement and to go against redlining, which was systemic ghettoization. She bought a house in her name for a black couple who could not buy a home in the neighborhood they wanted to go to. It's a lot of people. Reverend James Reeb, who marched with Dr. King. We don't often talk about John Brown, is probably the most infamous one. But even beyond him, there are so many other folks, even during the period of enslavement. What that means is we can never say they were a product of their time. Not necessarily. They were a product of peer pressure. Think about it that way. Because we know deep down inside when something is right or wrong. General Lee in the Confederate Army, he has a descendant, Robert E. Lee. He has a descendant right now who's a pastor, white guy, who's anti-racist. Was that an easy thing to do? No, because he got kicked out of his church congregation because of that. But it was a bold thing to do. So when we talk about miseducation, it ain't just like, dang, black people, y'all ain't learning your history. White folks, y'all not learning your history.
What I need the world to realize is that Americans do not give a shit about you. The majority of Americans don't even know that your country exists. They wouldn't be able to even pick it out on a map. If the United States government decided to yeet your country off of the face of the earth tomorrow, the majority of Americans would not bat an eye. Half the country would support it, the majority of the other half are apathetic to it. The people in this country who actually give a shit about the world are an extreme minority. And so why does the world continue to care about America in this way? Following American trends, adopting these cultural practices that are largely rooted in consumerism, looking up to American celebrities and public figures, this country and its people are nothing to emulate. American consumption habits are literally destroying the world. This country is only 5% of the world's total population, but is responsible for a quarter of the trash that it produces. The parasitic government will destroy countries without batting an eye. And realize Donald Trump is not the first to do this. But the world is a little bit too complacent, just as Americans are. And people are waking up to it, but not enough. This country has done so much to destroy the world, and people are too passive in accepting it. And so the world needs to boycott America, not just regarding consumption, but culturally and socially as well.
Anyways, welcome back, guys, and thank you so much for joining. Thank you for watching all of that clip, and I hope you guys literally enjoyed all of that clip. And the honest truth is, I can tell you for a whole fact that a lot of white Americans wish, I'm not saying all of them, let me just say 90% of them wish for black Americans to literally say, oh, today we're no longer staying in America, we want to pack our things and leave. Let America be predominantly white. A lot of them are there like that. A lot of them wish that. But will it ever be possible? Will it ever be done? No way. Because you don't expect people that literally built this country to live for you. Instead, you are the one that is supposed to go. You are the one that is supposed to go build somewhere else if there is anybody to leave America. And that is why when I see some people literally saying that, Black Americans get angry a lot, or Black Americans react to things a lot, I want you guys to know that this is no longer that time where a lot of Black people will not say anything. This is not that time where a lot of Black people will just be silent. This is not that time where a lot of Black people will choose to just abandon a lot of things that they are doing just because they want to please a white person. This is a time where Black Americans will speak. And that is why I love people like that guy. I felt the first clip I roll out, those kind of Black people that will literally be attacking and be explaining to some of these white folk that think they know everything, why in real sense, as far as I'm concerned, they literally do not know anything. I love it when they get schooled. I love it when you have to sit them and let them know that this is not your forefathers. This is not the slavery era. This is not the segregation era where we literally do not need to say anything, where we have obviously kept quiet for so long. This is the moment of truth. And I will still say this. If there is anybody that is supposed to leave, then it should be the white folks, not the Black people. You can literally see from the video clips I roll out as well, where you see a white man saying, Black people love to own this, own that, but because they literally have just what is called the whites predominantly, blah, 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 in Akasin, a lot of Black people are jealous about it. Black people don't get jealous. That is one thing that I've literally been standing for us, is the fact that we don't get jealous. You understand what I'm trying to say? So it's just a whole lot to deal with. Sorry, guys. I am with your baby here. They have to wake me up that. This small madam. So that is just the honest truth. So the earlier a lot of you guys realize that, the better for every single one of us. Will you don't misbehave here, mama. Look at your head. The better for every single one of us. So that is the history of every single thing. So if you have the guts to tell Black people, to tell them, move out to another country, you should as well move. And for the fact that this is actually being filmed on a national TV, and you now still have the guts to show out your racist pattern, is what is amazing. And that is why I keep saying it is hard, it is difficult for you to see a Black person looking for a white person's trouble or started something that will literally bring chaos. It is always coming from these white folks. And the moment they do it, Black people are coming to address the issue. It becomes a thing of, they are jealous. They are this. They are that. It's not making sense. If you do not need to respect anybody, at least respect Black Americans. It's not that difficult. It's not that bad. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section. Credits belong to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in at this episode. I want to say a very big thank you to every single one of you, liking, commenting, sharing, dropping super thanks, and also joining my membership. I do not take you guys for granted. You guys are absolutely the best. And with that being said, I'm going to be saying bye, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Mwah. Okay, come and say hello to your online aunties and uncles. But she's sleeping already, guys. Say hello, mama. Say hello to them. Hey, look at her mouth. You don't want to say hello. Bye, guys. I love you guys. Mwah.